has been convicted of 34 felony charges in the state of New York. Nobody knows what it's really about. Nobody knows what's going to happen going forward. But to help me with that, I have Kash Patel with me. Kash, thank you for joining me again today.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show. Important stuff.
Yes. So this is a little bit long, but I want to get your thoughts on this. This is from Liz Wheeler on Twitter. She says, Hillary Clinton deleted 30,000 emails. Jeffrey Epstein's clients walked free. Mayorkas allowed an invasion on the border. Pelosi's rich husband does insider trading. Hunter is a crack addict with hookers. Biden sold access to China. Stephen D'Antuono staged the Whitmer Fednapping and January 6. Peter Strzock and Page weaponized the FBI against Trump. Dr. Fauci lied about funding gain of function. COVID-19 killed millions of people. Cuomo killed 11,000 elders in New York. Pfizer and Moderna lied about the safety of the mRNA jab. Planned Parenthood sold aborted baby parts. They all walk free, yet Donald Trump is going to jail over a clerical error. What are your thoughts on this? All of these people getting away with stuff, but not Donald Trump.
We've been saying it for a long time. Now people realize it's real. The two-tier system of justice is not a Republican, neocon, right-wing conspiracy fiction. It is an everyday, in-your-face, state and federal court administrative process abuse that is occurring across this country, most namely to Donald Trump, but also to his supporters. And so we've called it out. And that was a litany that you just went through of unjust, unfair actions under the law for people who actually committed crimes, but were given a hall pass because of their political bent and their political orientation. And the swamp monster class in Washington, D.C., is what Donald Trump has been exploiting and exposing their corruption day in and day out. I was with the president all day Monday last week in court, watching probably the most intense day of trial with Michael Cohen and Bob Costello, and just watching literally MTV Jersey Shore meets Perry Mason. I've never seen, as a former federal public defender and prosecutor who's tried 60 criminal jury cases to trial, I've never seen a judge deny a defendant the right to put on a lawful defense. I've never seen a judge kick out of the courtroom everyone when a defense witness actually tells the truth and exonerates the defendant. I've never seen a judge prop up and support perjury from Michael Cohen, lie after lie after lie, just to obtain a false conviction against Donald Trump. These are just a quick list of things I never got seen in my career. And they go with the list of offenses that you just read off from Liz Wheeler, because I want to show people that it's not just the crimes itself. It's the process that the swamp has hijacked. The administrative state has taken over the two-tier system of justice and destroyed the Constitution. And to me, that is what I believe Donald Trump is fighting to save: our way of life and our Constitution.
Yeah, thank you for that. I read about it, but I wasn't in court. I wasn't in New York. But as somebody sitting back who hasn't tried 60 cases, that isn't a lawyer, I'm sitting there going, wait a minute. We finally get to Trump's star witness, and they clear out the court and throw this giant baby fit, 50 plus pages of jury instruction, but they're not allowed to have it. I just saw on Politico just put out the sheet. It was literally 1 to 34. All it said was felony, and then guilty or not guilty. All they had to do was check a box. I mean, this is the most ridiculous case I've ever seen. And yet I'm now seeing my Twitter feed is full of saying it is now time to go after these people. Megyn Kelly said the only way that they're going to learn is to go after Biden, to go after Hillary Clinton, to go after Barack Obama. I don't want this to become, a pattern that everybody arrests the previous president or their administration. But how do we make sure that they understand that they have crossed a line that you can't uncross?
Yeah. So to address the jury instructions, where you obtain what we lawyers call reversible error the most frequently is the voir dire jury selection process and the jury instruction process, meaning the jury was either selected unlawfully or the jury was instructed unlawfully. under the law. And going to the jury instructions, the United States Supreme Court has been unanimously clear on this. Every element of every crime must be proven beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt, and they must be unanimous in that verdict. The case is Richardson versus United States, and it's in the U.S. Supreme Court. And it specifically cites CCE crimes, which is the crime that Donald Trump was charged with here. And I looked at that jury instruction verdict form. And I said, what normally happens is, did you find the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of the crime X? Since crime X requires a finding of another felony, did the government meet its burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt? And what was that felony? That whole bottom portion was deleted. The judge just said, hey, did you find him guilty of something? It is patently reversible error, but they don't care. This judge doesn't care. This Alvin Bragg's office doesn't care. They know an appeal is going to take 2 to 3 years. They wanted the headline. They got it. But moving on to what Megyn Kelly and others were talking about, how do you fix it? One, you elect Donald Trump. My call to action, though, today was kind of what we were talking about before we jumped on the show here. Where has everybody been in the Republican majority in the House of Representatives while Donald Trump was unjustly on trial? Some people showed up, thankfully. Most did not, but some people did that were elected members of the House and Senate, and other leading figures showed up and spoke their mind for the president, which was great to see. But we know, we don't kind of know, we know Judge Merchan's daughter made $10+ million from the information pouring out of her father's courtroom. That's not a fact up for debate. That's been proven. We know that New York State has barred judges from presiding over cases where there is an indirect financial compensation to your family, your daughter. He stayed on the case anyway. Okay, you want to play hardball? You want to go after facts that the American people deserve? Corey Mills, a brave congressional warrior from Florida, former special forces operator, he and I joined forces. We just announced today, we are asking Congress to issue subpoenas to Judge Merchan's daughter's company to find out how much money she has made since the trial started, how much she has made since the trial ended, how much of that money ended up in daddy's coffers. And here's the kicker. All of that money made through that campaign style financing is an FEC violation every single time. So you want to do it? Let's get some subpoenas out the door. Let's get the records. And how about we get a state Republican attorney general from any state? By the way, Florida, I'm looking at you, since one of Judge Merchan's daughter's companies is listed in Florida, to start the judicial process and use the tools of the Constitution so that Americans can have faith in justice. I'm waiting for them to do it. I don't know if they're going to do it, but Corey and I are working on it.
Okay, no, that's great. I know that there's a lot going on behind the scenes right now, and I think the American people want to hear that. One of the, I hate to say this, one of the positives that came out of this is it did expose the system for what it really is. At the same time, Donald Trump just raised, I think, $39 million. I mean, Biden was being praised, heaped praises in the mainstream media when Biden, Obama, and Clinton raised $25 million. Now, Donald Trump, for a second time, has just completely blown them out of the water. But does this help Donald Trump win the presidency? And one of the big questions is, can he actually still run for office if he has to do it from jail?
So the second question, yes, there have been other people who ran for president from office. It's totally lawful, totally legal. And I believe Donald Trump when he says, if you put me in jail, I'm going to continue to run for the office of the presidency. So that's an easy one. It'll be hard on him personally, of course, and his supporters, but I don't think he's going to bend the knee. Two, on the other side of the equation, what can be done to lend Donald Trump assistance? Money is always a factor, always a factor. So showing that fundraising prowess in the last 12 hours to me shows a lot of people care about the injustice, about the unconstitutional acts that were performed here. So that's great. And I want people to keep donating to donaldjtrump.com and keep showing force. But my phone has also been lighting up the last 12, 24 hours, as is yours, I'm sure, with people saying, I'm ticked off, I'm pissed, I'm that, I'm this, the America fell from today. Okay, you know what I did to all of them? What are you doing? What are you doing besides texting and calling me and complaining and saying and asking other people what they're doing to help Donald Trump win? And it's tough language, but if you don't have a big checkbook, that's okay. Cut $20. But if you don't have money to give at all, that's okay too. Go register voters. Go harvest ballots. Go put out Donald Trump's Agenda 47 to the communities that are deprived of that message. Go to the inner cities. Take it to the minority lands. Go everywhere that the Democrats fail to go and won't go, except they'll go try to buy votes, and show them what Donald Trump's America looks like versus what Joe Biden's reality is right now. And that's my challenge to these people. The money's great. It's got to keep coming in. But hey, he raised $39 million, right? What if we actually had 39 million new people register to vote? Why wouldn't we do that? We keep talking about, I agree, the ultimate verdict is on November 5th. But do you know when early voting mail-in ballot starts in most states? Now. So why aren't we going out there and getting our votes locked up, our people registered? The Democrats have masterminded this game. They don't care about the big rallies and the MTV style court cases. What they care about is going out and registering voters and make sure they ballot harvest and send them all in. And we need to be doing it.
Now, isn't Donald Trump trending positively there in Nevada where you live? He never actually won it, but I believe there's 10 or 12 electoral votes. But from everything I'm reading online, Cash, he is on track to take Nevada this time.
Look, I think if the election were tomorrow, you're looking at something like a 84 Reagan-Mondale type of victory for the president. What scares me is that the election is still 4 or 5 months away, and these same government gangsters that concocted the Russia collusion hoax, that concocted the January 6th insurrection disinformation narrative, that allowed Hunter Biden's laptop to be suppressed. And oh, by the way, who's going on trial next week? I just want to ask all the constitutionalists if their room temperature will change when Hunter Biden's jury is sworn in versus how they reacted to Donald Trump's treatment. That will be a great juxtaposition. But these are the guys that have authored all of these injustices for purposes of rigging an election. So what's next? And you would be naive to think that they're not doing anything. They've been caught multiple times. They've gotten better. They're better funded. So what we have to watch out for is what's coming. But we also have to issue a preemptive strike and educate our communities to say, they did this to you. And now's not the I told you so moment. Now's not the time that I told you should have watched Steve's show. He was right the whole time. Now's the moment to say, go watch Steve's show. He was right. He's right now. The mainstream media is the one lying to you with the Democrats so they could steal your vote on election day and they could steal this country away from you. I think that message is resonating powerfully here in Nevada and across the country. And I think that message is what supports President Trump's agenda and his statement that we have to win so big that it can't be rigged. And I firmly believe that's how we have to win this election.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. What's your take on these RINO Republicans that are now saying, for the dignity of the Republican Party, we must abandon Donald Trump and quickly pick a new candidate? Like, do these people have no brains, no guts, no love for their country, or do they just like losing? Like, it makes no sense to me to abandon the guy who's going to win just because of some fake piece of crap lawfare in New York City.
This is one of the most fundamental reasons why people hate the establishment RINO class in Washington, D.C. and the swamp. These people care more about their pocketbooks and their egos and their landing page and what's next for them and their media headlines than they do about pushing this country forward in a direction that all Americans agree upon. Donald Trump has forever changed the Republican Party. Donald Trump has exposed the RINO establishment class like the Paul Ryans, like the Nikki Haley's, and the list goes on. And Donald Trump has taken away their bread and butter and made it everyday Americans. And they hate him for it. They used to be able to go out and buy those votes. They used to be able to go to the defense industrial complex and the lobbyist class and said, we're going to own this state or that county. We're building this and we're doing this and we're going to put your name on the building and everybody will be happy that you brought jobs here. Yay, yay, win for America. When we now realize that the only people that were actually being enriched were the government gangsters in DC, the RINOs. And it's not a surprise that those same people are now coming forward and saying, oh, we got to go with some other guy. There is no other guy. Donald Trump whether you like it or not, or disagree with the election results of the last cycle, received more votes than any Republican for the presidency of the United States in the history of America. And you want to go another direction because he exposed the two-tier system of justice, because you want to ride on the coattails of the Democratic talking point that now Donald Trump's a convicted felon? Do we not have due process in this country anymore? Do we not have smart-minded people who say, wait a second, that was a railroad job that Biden administration authored, and now they want me to change my vote based on that lie? I think the Republican RINO class is being submerged and into submission, and they don't know what to do.
Honestly, I think it's the people that are still like delusional that Nikki Haley's going to somehow become vice president or president or something. Because like, who else would you put forward? Who else would you put forward? Nikki Haley? I mean, Ron DeSantis, from what I'm hearing, he's getting ready to go stump for Donald Trump to amplify the voice and the message of Donald Trump. So yeah, they're completely delusional. This morning, I saw that the streets of New York are flooded with Trump supporters outside of Trump Tower. However, many are saying it's time to fight fire with fire. They're calling for people to start making a list of people for Donald Trump to go after. I'm just wondering, like, how do we systematically go after the people who have actually committed crimes, but not have it look like it's just revenge, right? Like those names that I listed off, everybody agrees those people have committed crimes, and yet we've got to drain the swamp. We've got to purge the poison out of Washington, D.C. Does this require Trump having a really bold MAGA attorney general, or does this, I guess, how does this look going forward?
To me, it's simple, and Donald Trump said it this morning to the world. I'm going to continue running in this race because I'm going to continue to champion the Constitution. That's it. That's the answer. Forget all that. Look, don't overcorrect. Don't take the bait. Don't take the projections that the radical left wing want. Oh, they have a list. Oh my God, did you hear what Cash Patel and Steve Gardner said? There's a list. There is no list. There is a Constitution. And we know who broke the law. And if we apply the Constitution, we will win back America and drain the swamp. And that's what I firmly believe Donald Trump is going to do. And now that we are educating Americans, it's good that they're ticked off, and it's good that they say, hey, we would like to put together a list. But my point is, don't give the radical left-wing media a false talking point. They're going to call it a hit list or a mercenary list or whatnot. They have those. The ironic thing is the Biden administration and the corrupt attorney general and the FBI have those against Trump supporters. We're not going to do that. We're going to go out there and just find the facts and the law and prosecute those cases. We are not going to find the person and make it a crime. We are going to find a crime, and whoever's behind that crime, we are going to prosecute. It doesn't matter if you live or work in Washington or live or work in Northwest Idaho. Every single American deserves the same constitutional protections, and every single American should be prosecuted under the same constitutional application of law. To me, call me naive, but that was a large portion of my career before I went into Intel and everything else. And I love that Donald Trump championed that today. I think our list is the Constitution.
Okay, I love that. Many of my viewers have probably forgotten this, but I have not. When the Trump administration ended, you had people like Maxine Water and AOC. They were saying, build a list, never let these people have a job, harass them. Maxine Waters said, if you see these people in restaurants, in malls, in stores, I want you to harass them, get in their face, tell them they have no place in America. AOC was saying, give these people no jobs. They should never work again. Like, oh my gosh, are you freaking kidding me? Be mature. Like the power of the presidency was handed over like it always has been. And Joe Biden was sworn in. And then these guys, they just behave like a bunch of children. And yet, you know, we do have to be careful that they don't say, oh, they're building a list. Look at what they're doing, because it's the exact same thing that they were doing.
And the perfect example is, sorry to jump in real quick, is James Comey just this week goes on national TV and says, I don't care if you're a Republican or not, you have to vote Joe Biden. Why? Because James Comey goes on national TV and then says, because I'm in fear of the over abuse of the Constitution. James Comey, the guy that ran the Russiagate conspiracy and signed the illegal FISA warrant and lied to a federal judge just to unlawfully surveil a presidential campaign that he disliked as the FBI director, is lecturing America on how to apply the Constitution. The reason he's going on TV and using hyperbole and conjecture and saying, I'm the FBI director, you have to believe me, is because Donald Trump has exposed their flank. And they know in the swamp he's coming for them. The AOC, same thing of the world, right? The Maxine Waters and all this stuff. He has exposed how they in Washington have abused the Constitution for their self-gain. And if he's reelected, they know he's going to come in and finish the job. So that's what they're terrified of. And that's why you see James Comey going on national TV. I mean, you want to talk about the irony of ironies, the most hypocritical position you can take is the former FBI director who's fired for breaking federal laws is going out there and telling people if Donald Trump's elected, he's going to be the one that abuses the Constitution. It's just as bad to me as the Biden administration yesterday putting out a statement. The head of comms for Biden said, Donald Trump, if reelected, will terminate the Constitution. Donald Trump's going to terminate the Constitution? You guys just exterminated it, and now you are running on hyperbole. That's the thing. They're all stitched together. The Comeys of the world, the Clintons, the Biden camp. Hillary's out there taking a victory rap saying she was right the whole time. What do you mean? What were you right about? That you broke the law like 375 times and got away with it? Yeah, you're right about that. Now she's selling mugs. I mean, these people get it. They don't have the policy. They don't have the law. They don't have the Constitution because they've broken all of them. Yeah. And their fear is Donald Trump is going to actually investigate them for it.
Yeah. Do you think the I'm not a lawyer, but I guess the arraignment or the sentencing being July 11th, just a few days before Trump would be named the official nominee of the Republican Party, do you think that was on purpose, or is that just when they happen to have an open slot in New York?
There are no coincidences in government, and there are no coincidences in judicial proceedings. This judge could have done it the week after. He's got all summer long. And they did it to make a point. They want to sentence Donald Trump as a convicted felon before the RNC convention. Now, of course, normally this type of putting the unjust conviction aside, this type of case with this type of defendant with absolutely no criminal history and no violence would receive probation overnight, literally. Now, we'll wait and see what this judge wants to do or what he's going to do, but we've seen what this judge is capable of. And what he's capable of is rigging the system of justice to squeeze every political drop out of it that favors their position. So I believe he will do just that. And if it means putting Donald Trump in jail in his mind, that's what he'll do. But I believe if he puts Donald Trump in jail for one day, Trump wins overnight.
Yeah. Part of me wonders if maybe Trump is hoping that will happen just because he knows that would be the outcome.
The modern day Mandela.
Yes, absolutely. What about, I read today that Jim Jordan is demanding that District Attorney Alvin Bragg and Biden's number 3 at the DOJ, who stepped down, Coangelo, appear before Congress on June 13th to testify under oath about how they ran a fair trial. How do you see that playing out?
Is it a subpoena or is it just a request?
Well, right now it sounds like it's a demand that's heading towards a subpoena. So I'm kind of, I guess, assuming that it's going to happen.
I don't know why Republicans always give the Democrats leeway and rope and time. Issue the damn subpoena and enforce it. I mean, remember when the Republicans finally got the stones to go ahead and impeach Mayorkas? What did the Democrats do in one fell swoop? Chuck it out the window. There wasn't even a trial. It was, and the Democrats are in the minority. It's unbelievable to me that these Republicans allow themselves to be walked all over and in turn are allowing us to be walked over. So you know what? You want another headline grab? I'm not going to support it. You want to actually go subpoena those guys and have them testify and force them to? Great. I've got a litany of questions I can go and give you guys, and you guys can take all the credit. And while you're at it, subpoena Judge Merchan Daughter's company and put her there and answer those questions. Like, let's see how far down the rabbit hole of the Biden administration this thing actually goes. So until they actually do something, you know, I like those guys personally. I used to work for Jim Jordan. I'm not knocking them. I'm tired. I'm tired of the talk and the headlines and the failure to act And then when they get one minuscule victory, it gets drowned out by the mainstream media because we stepped all over ourselves on process. It's the most confounding position I've ever seen Congress take, when what they should be doing is rising in unanimity behind Donald Trump and saying, we should be calling a special session of Congress to investigate all the ways that the Department of Justice and the FBI abused the Constitution to unlawfully surveil, target, and indict Donald J. Trump. That's what they should be doing.
Yeah, let's hope that they do. I'm going to put a link to your book, Government Gangsters, down below so that people can check that out. If people want to follow you online, Cash, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I'm only at one place, Truth Social, at Cash, at Kash. If you think you're following me on some other social media platform, you're not. I'm only on Truth. And thank you for making Government Gangsters a bestseller. And your audience will love the fact that the movie is coming out in a few short weeks. So we teamed up with War Room Entertainment. And for the first time in 8 years, Steve Bannon is making a movie. We've made it. We're now in final production. So stay tuned for releases. We're probably going to come to Utah and do a preview.
Yes, yes, yes. Please do. I will help get the word out, and we'll have you back on the show right before then. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Hey, thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.